Meet the
Foster.
parents.
All right, ready, set, go. Hi everyone, it's Tuesday, December 8th. This is episode 0001. Welcome to Meet the Foster Parents.
Exactly.
a podcast about foster parents, their joys and struggles.
Mm-hmm.
I'm your co-host, Gitit. I'm a foster parent, among other things.
Among other things. My name is Daphne Chen, and I'm a psychotherapist and a chemical dependency professional, and I would be co-hosting this podcast with Gitit.
Yay.
Yeah.
So we have a little disclaimer.
Yeah.
These are our experiences.
These are experiences and opinions, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah. I'd like to share them with you. Together in each podcast, we will introduce you to a new foster parent, a glimpse into their lives, some of the experiences they have had, and some challenges they faced. And hopefully you will be able to reach us on Facebook and Twitter and all that good stuff.
All the other social media avenues.
Right.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. And today we'll start with you, Gitit.
Interviewing a parent.
okay.
Yeah. So what brought you to foster parent?
So,
Foster parenting.
yeah, it's a question that I get a lot. Why do I do it? And I'm not 100% sure why. There are a few things that I've thought over the years that, maybe that was it. I think I grew up on Different Strokes, which was a sitcom in the 70s, 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Very mixed family, and I thought that looked interesting. I thought that was a great way to raise kids.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think it's a little more complicated than that.
Yeah.
But that was one thing that I thought, that one connection that I had. I was also the only girl in my family, so I have three brothers, and so I always wanted my parents to adopt another girl.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't work out. I almost got them to do it, but that did not work out. And so and I'm a very sometimes over compassionate person, I think, and so I hear these stories of kids that don't have families, and it just breaks my heart, and I was like, want to adopt them all.
Yeah. So you wanted to do some good and kind of keep what you experienced as a child alive as well.
Yeah, and my home was always there were lots of people in our house. There were always lots of people invited for dinner. My dad was used to cook a lot of food, and he would always kind of, I don't know where he would find these people, but he would be dinner time, and he'd be like, we have 2-3 more people, and I think he'd go out and collect them. But it was a very good experience. It was always very interesting dinner table
Yes.
conversation. So
Nice.
I love that. And when I look at my family now, when I see the full dinner table, I love it. I'm like, that's what I wanted. So.
Would you tell us a little bit about your family now, how it looks like?
Yeah, so right now, well, I'll start a little before. I'll start with the fact that, so originally, my husband Yossi and I, when we talked about it, when we got married, and I said, I want to adopt kids, and then he said, yeah, sure, that's a good idea. But so we went to find out about it, and of course they scare you off a little. I mean, it's scary. So we're like, we need to practice on our own kids first. So we decided to try and have our own kids, and we did. We had two daughters. Successful, two successful kids, and so we thought, okay, well, when they grow up a little, and when there's like a gap of like 5 years, 6 years, we would start fostering, and the gap was a little bit bigger than what we planned, because the process here was very, and when I say here, it's in Washington State, is where we were licensed, and the process was not very welcoming, and supportive, and actually took us 3 years
Wow.
to
That's a
become
long time.
licensed. Yeah. So
You were really determined to do that, huh?
and that's the strange part about it, which is sad, but a lot of people drop out because of that long process.
Yeah.
And it's not a very pleasant one either. You know, people go into your home and go into your mind and evaluate, you know,
Right.
what they think you're going to make a good foster parent or not.
Yeah.
So, and your friends have to comment on that as well. So,
Oh, wow.
it's not the
Very
it's not
exposing.
yeah, it is very exposing. I know a number of people who've said, you know, I'm not willing to do it.
Right.
I totally understand them, and so we did that. That took a long time, and we started fostering. And of course, originally we had planned that we would have 2 of our own kids, and then we would foster younger kids.
Right.
And you know, we'd start with the 0 to 2 or babies, and then there would always be a gap between our kids and the foster kids, and our kids would mentor them or be the older siblings. Of course, that didn't happen because we got we had quite a few kids, but then we had one that we got when she was 3 weeks old.
Oh, wow. Very young.
Yes. And actually, at the time, we had decided to stop fostering. We had done it for a while. It was very straining, and we decided, my husband said, let's just have another kid and forget about all this foster care. So we tried to have another kid, and it didn't work out. So for 2 years, we kept fostering, and I didn't get pregnant.
Right.
And then almost a month after that, that baby came, we got pregnant. So I always blame foster care for my youngest. So we had that baby at 3 weeks, and a month later I was pregnant. And
Which I hear is not a very uncommon experience.
Not uncommon at all, actually. In our support group here in Redmond, we had 3 families drop out of foster care because of pregnancies.
Oh,
Due to
interesting.
pregnancy.
Interesting.
So actually, if you count me, that's 4. So 4 families. Actually, our latest couple have twins too, so that's kind of crazy. But I think it does, you know, what they say always about women who go through the process of trying to get pregnant, and then, you know, the second one comes naturally, and they don't go through any of that. So all I say is just get a foster baby.
There you go.
And you'll be pregnant in no time. So we got pregnant, but then by that time we had already had older kids in the home.
Right.
So older than the baby. So that messed everything up. And so by that point we were like, oh, forget planning. That never works, right? So
you just decided to go with the flow.
Right.
Yeah.
So right now we have our oldest daughter is 19, and she just left home to go to college. Our second daughter is 17.
Yep.
And then we have 2 foster kids who are 17 and 17. So we have 3 17-year-olds at home. Our 10-year-old is adopted.
Yep. And she used to be
she
one
was
of your
in foster care, right?
Right.
So she was with us in foster care for about 3 years before she was eligible for adoption. And then our youngest, who's the blame the foster care system baby, who's now 6.
Yeah.
And so
Big boy.
yeah, so that's what we have now. And then
Quite a full house.
it is a full house. It's fun. It's really fun. You'd think I'd always have someone to play a board game with, but they don't really want to play with me.
Not anymore, huh? Well, 17.
Right.
Yeah. So Gitit, let's talk a little bit about what happens when foster kid or foster child been with you for a while now. They are going either back to their family or whatever the situation is. They live in this house. How is it for you? What do you experience?
So one of the things that I always tell new foster families and people who ask me how isn't it hard when they leave is that it's really important of how you feel, or what is your state of mind when you go into foster care. Are you going in to it with the mindset that you're going to adopt this child, or you're going to just be there for a few days, or are you going to... So the way I go into it is I feel that I have a role to play in this child's life, and just like a teacher has in the lives of the kids that come into her classroom or his classroom.
Right.
And not at the end of the year when the kids move on or go to another
Right.
school, you can be sad. You're sad with some of the kids. You are not sad with some other kids.
Right.
And you were there, and you gave them everything that you could at that stage in their life when they needed you.
Right.
And so, in some cases, they continue. You continue to see them. Maybe you continue to have these kids throughout school, or you continue to have a connection with them or a relationship with them, even if they're not
Right.
In your classroom or in your home. So I have some kids like that have left, and we've continued to have a relationship with them, and I think that's amazing, because everyone needs a circle of friends and these relationships with people who are not just their parents.
Right.
So I'm not always sad when I'm not sad when they leave, because I know that they're going to the next chapter, and I've given them everything that I could give them while they were here.
Yeah. Sounds like you're very much got to the place that's accepting that cycle kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And seeing the advantage of still keeping in touch and providing them what they need at that time.
Right. And it's not that we're not sad or we don't miss some of the kids. I mean, I have two stories that I'd want to share about that. One about a child that, actually the same child that came to us when she was 3 weeks old, because and stayed for 8 months.
Wow.
So that's a big chunk of both that child's life.
Very
that's
significant,
all that child's life at the time, but also for us and the connection with our family and kids. There was a huge bond with that child. So of course we really, really miss that child, and would love to see her. And we did see her for a little bit, but then it didn't last very long because of situation of the family and things like that. She did actually go back to her mother. So to me, that's a happy story, a happy ending. Mom was in a bad place when she lost the kids, and she got out of it, and the kids went back to her, and
Beautiful.
I think that's the best thing for the kids. And whatever I could have done to give her a child that had a good base for life, because those first 8 months are important. So the fact that child now has, might have good relationships growing up.
Right.
And another story that I had was about a child that we got. She was almost 4 years old when she came to us, and she was very, very well behaved. So, whenever you say go to bed, she'd, within 30 seconds she'd be in pajamas.
Too well behaved.
It was like suspiciously well behaved.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was like, I don't know. In kids, there is something when there is that little bit of rebellious streak. I mean, it's a little fun, and that's what makes some of it fun. So she was very well behaved, but then on the other hand, like, she wouldn't talk to my husband. She wouldn't ask him anything directly. So anything that, if we were sitting around the table and she needed the salt, she would ask someone else, even if it was right next to him.
Yeah.
So there were things that were just like not healthy things in a family that could have lasted for a very long time. So
Right.
when she was in our home, I mean, it was okay. It was, you could survive,
Right.
but it's not a pleasant situation to be adopted into or to adopt.
Right.
So she was in our home for a few months, and we had told the social worker that it's not a great fit.
Mm-hmm.
And the social worker was ready to move her out the next day. It's like, oh, okay, I found her. It's only about 2-hour drive, and we can get her out of here tomorrow. I'm
Right.
like, no. That's not why we're doing foster care.
Right.
That's not our goal. We don't want this child. One of the things going into foster care that really we were pretty passionate about was to try and not be another link in the chain of hundreds or tens of foster families that these kids go through. So not another weekend.
Right.
Trying to try to be as stable
Yeah.
a place. And
Mm-hmm.
if they were going to go back home, then we'll be there for them until they go back home. Or if they're going to be adopted, we'll help find an adoptive home.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the case with this girl. I actually met her mom, who was not in the best of places, and I think she already had one child that had gone to adoption, and just really, I was one of my first. I think that was my first biological parent that I met too, and she just cried her. I think for like 2 hours we sat and she cried.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very, very hard on me.
Yeah.
But all she wanted was for her daughter to be adopted. And, we talked to the social worker. We said, we're not the right home for this child. She does not feel at home here, and it's not the best fit for her. But we don't want you to move her out of here tomorrow
Right.
to a foster home that's going to keep her for a few weeks, and then move her to another foster home that's going to keep her for another few weeks. So we didn't want that for her. And this is, to me, was one of my favorite stories, because we did find an adoptive home for her
Nice.
that actually the mom was also adopted, and they looked very similar too.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there was any relationship,
Right.
but I think it's great that a kid can be adopted into a family, and she had a great relationship with that father there. So
Nice.
there might have been some issues that she had with men going into foster care, but with time, she had started healing, and so when the time came to move to this family, she was ready for it, and had a great relationship with them, and they sent us pictures of her adoption, and some pictures of her losing teeth later on, and kept us in the loop, and it was a lot of fun
Yeah.
to watch. But I know she is where she needs to be,
Right.
because that is a warm family that she felt comfortable in, and of course she didn't like our food either, so
That's a whole
always a
different
problem.
topic right there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, I love that story.
Yeah, beautiful. So, if I may, I know your family a little bit, and in your family right now there is quite a few different. It's a what we call a very diverse family, and maybe you can talk a little bit about that, and how do you maintain balance between those, if there is a balance, or how do you allow for everybody to have their own way of living and still maintain a family, a unit?
Right. So actually, I think it's in one sense we're diverse, in the other sense we kind of all look the same. So maybe externally, to the professional eye, I don't get a lot of looks as I did in the past when I had children who were very different from me. and the amazing comments that people say in things like that. So I love supermarket line. Old ladies always have the best comments about your kids. But so right now in our family we have I'll touch the aspect of the food.
Right.
So we have one child who eats only halal.
Which is the kosher Muslim.
Yes,
Yep.
Muslim. So very religious Muslim way of eating, and some Jewish eaters, a vegan, and some very passionate meat eaters as well.
Yep.
So I think the biggest challenge is the meat and the halal and the vegans. They're very hard to appease.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you integrate that?
So, not to mention the fact that you have to feed. We feed about 9 people. 8. Right now we're 8.
Right.
8 or 9 depends on who's home.
Depends on the day. Yeah.
Right. Depends on the day of the week and the time of month and the
Right. Right.
the holiday in question.
Right.
So it's very important. I realize now more when you put things on the table, and sometimes it seems like there's a lot of food, how little food it actually is.
How so?
Because just go into any restaurant, any, the typical like Red Robin, Applebee's,
Right.
those kind of family style restaurants, and look at the menu, and there is nothing there to eat, basically.
That's right. Very low nutrition.
Not only, nutrition,
Yeah.
but in the salads, almost every salad will have cheese or meat.
Right.
And of course all the other dishes have cheese or meat
Right.
in them. So as far as vegan, there's absolutely nothing for them to eat. And then of course none of it is halal or kosher. So, going into those places is pretty much impossible.
Right.
So we went to a Thanksgiving, wonderful Thanksgiving meal that was put on here by a local restaurant that they put this on every year. They put on a traditional Thanksgiving meal, and they invite foster families and I guess other, maybe low income, or there's an interesting selection of families there. And so as a compromise, the other option that was there was vegetarian. And they didn't eat almost anything because the tomatoes came with cheese on them.
Right.
So my daughter didn't eat the tomatoes.
Right.
And my other daughter didn't like I don't know, whatever it was. It wasn't, like one of these things that she hates. You know, it's like I don't like bell peppers. So even if I was vegan and you gave me something that had bell peppers on it, I wouldn't eat it.
Right.
So it's just, interesting how you have to think about these things, make sure that there is something. I remember also another story that our daughter who eats halal said that she went somewhere, and to make things simple, she just said, "I'm vegetarian." So they gave her a Caesar salad with chicken on it. So it's, you think, people say that they're diverse, they're accepting,
Right.
and they don't notice these little things that they do that are not even to the point of offensive or
It's just
something
not,
like that. It's just,
not giving the attention that needs to be.
right. It's not even, it's, you'd say inconsiderate, but it's because in the word inconsiderate there is some part of consideration, but there is no consideration there. So
it sounds like there's a lot of intention and kind of painstaking. You need to really pay attention to what you offer, so you can all share a meal, even to that simple level.
Right. And one of the things that we've actually in the past, or we always have dinner as a family,
Right.
and we always, we cook at home, and we put food on the table, and it'll be like, maybe a rice and so this is back in the simple days, right? There'll be like a rice and a chicken and a salad or a vegetable, right? That's what you kind of expect. And now I realize how simple those days were.
That was much, much easier, huh?
I'd complain, but now I think, I wish I had those days.
Yeah.
So, but we were the kind of family that says, okay, this is it.
Right.
This is what we made for dinner. You eat it.
Right.
Right? There's no other option. You don't go to the refrigerator
Right.
now and find something. We don't make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for anyone, and we don't make a pasta with butter because you don't eat this.
Right.
So, but we realized that we have to, compromise and put things on the table that everyone.
Right. So it sounds like you grew also as a family, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except from my husband, who will only eat salad with lettuce, tomatoes, and cucumbers.
That's it.
No. No,
Nice.
but the problem with that has become that, we want to have a salad on the table.
Right.
But they're also, like I said, I hate bell peppers. So you can't put bell peppers in my salad. And, the kids don't like onion, so you can't put onion in the salad.
Right.
And someone else doesn't like olives, so you can't put olives in the salad. And someone else doesn't like avocado, so you can't put that. So you have to...
This works.
Yes, this works. This is what they like. Okay.
Right. So it sounds like, again, you got to a place that you know what works for most people. But with having foster kids coming and going, sometimes that changes as well.
Right.
So every time there's an adjustment, it sounds like.
Right. Yeah, I guess there is adjusting. There is, I didn't mention, my son doesn't eat any, I say he's allergic to condiments. Oh. But
oh, wow. So he
doesn't
eat ketchup?
a whole discussion about like allergic to condoms and all that too. But no, he doesn't eat. He ate ketchup the other day. That was the joke. But he doesn't eat mayonnaise. He doesn't eat mustard, and I don't know what that is. But so like if you make a tuna salad, it's got mayonnaise in it. He won't eat that. So yeah, you have a big family and everyone's got their little picky thing that they don't like, and you have to
makes them all special.
Right. So we try not to make special thing for each person,
right?
But to try and make it that everyone enjoys it, and have things. Everyone loves pesto.
There you go. Easy enough.
Easy. Well, when my husband makes it, then everyone loves it.
Nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good.
Good.
So I feel like we need to end on a. Besides that fact that we need to end, we need to end on like a positive note or some.
Yeah. What do you think that might be?
What do we think? What do you think that is? A catchphrase.
Catchphrase. Well, let's not go there. Catchphrase.
Yeah. So like maybe.
Like we hope that
the takeaway for today is look at what you put on the table, and could you feed a vegan, a Muslim, and a
Jewish atheist?
And a Jewish atheist. Jewish atheists are easy to feed.
And also different, I don't know, the different ages, teenagers, do they eat any different?
They just eat a lot.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah. And at all hours of the day.
Yeah. So could you set a table that feeds all these different people? Yeah. Which is a very symbolic way of looking at, can we really provide for all kinds of people that sit in one house? It was lovely to discover a little bit more about your family and your experience.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
for being here.
Definitely.
And see you guys next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks.